week. Back-to-back attacks in Yemen today.
Both attacks took place in the port city of Aden. In the first one, Iran-backed Houthi rebels launched an airstrike on a military parade. At least 40 people were killed, including a senior military commander.
Now, before that attack, a suicide bomber drove a truck full of explosives into a police station. 11 people were killed there. There was no immediate claim of responsibility.
In the middle of all this, Yemen's Houthi group also targeted a military site inside Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Yemen's Houthi government have been at war since 2015, when the group aligned themselves with Iran.
Now, for more on all of this, we're joined by Jason Brodsky, a policy director of the group United Against Nuclear Iran. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason.
Great to be here.
All right, listen, I mean, the images that we just showed right there, I mean, just the tip, because so many of them were so horrific, so gruesome, we couldn't show them. Let's talk about the Houthis in particular here. Why is it that we're seeing, and it's not hyperbole to say that we're seeing daily attacks, multiple attacks daily. Why do we continue to see such a high incidence of these?
The Houthis are flexing their leverage in the aftermath of the Emirati withdrawal from southern Yemen. And the Houthis are backed by Iran. Iran wants to turn them into a proxy in the Hezbollah-like model that it's been employing in Lebanon and elsewhere. And it was meant as a sign and a warning that they control events on the ground, and they are serious, and they want to hold territory in the region.
You know, Jason, people are probably watching the headlines, these horrific images from Yemen, and are wondering, what does this have to do with the U.S. tensions with Iran? And it's all part of the same bigger picture. This is also by part why the United States cannot stop arms sales to Saudi Arabia. You know, the House wanted to push for it, tried to push for it.
Right.
What do you think? Is the U.S. on the right side here?
The U.S. is on the right side, and the maximum pressure campaign is an opportunity for Iran to come back to the negotiating table to negotiate a broader deal that would not just cover the nuclear file, but also the ballistic missile issue and the arms embargo. The original UN Resolution 2231, which enshrined the nuclear deal, actually eased and sunsetted the existing international arms embargo on Iran, and that expires by October 2020. So when that happens, that's going to act as a force multiplier on the ground in Yemen for Iranian manpower, meddling, and materiel. And so that's why it's incredibly dangerous, and that's why the Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign is meant to deal with those existing weaknesses in the nuclear deal architecture.
There is so much focus on whether or not, or just how much uranium is being enriched in Iran. But when it comes to the type of violence that we're seeing across the Middle East and from Iranian proxies, do you feel as though a lot of this, it just kind of gets lost because so many people are focusing on nuclear ambitions?
Yes, and they're two sides of the same coin. Iran has used the nuclear deal as a shield to prevent accountability on its non-nuclear malign behavior. And so that's why the maximum pressure campaign is taking a broader, more comprehensive view of the Iran file than had previous administrations.
In a very short answer, do you have an explanation? How come we're seeing these constant attacks of Houthi rebels in the Saudi territory, on Saudi airports, and Saudi Arabia is not doing more militarily?
Well, I think Saudi Arabia is trying to walk a careful balance. They're supporting the Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign, but they want ultimately for Iran to return to the negotiating table. And so it's a carefully calibrated approach.
Jason Brodsky, thank you for joining us.
Sure.